ANDUIN, it's been too long. He's a bit of a minefield right now, isn't he? Where'd our golden boy of the Alliance go? Like just a few X-Packs ago, he's pulling stuff like this. And now he's more like this. Not to mention, he's just been MIA for all of Dragonflight, with the SI-7 only just now being able to locate him after he vanished.
What the fuck is going on? Why can't I go full screen? The fuck is happening? Make the fucking shit full screen. Jesus.
At the end of Shadowlands. But I don't think this being the time he's being incidents. Because as we all know, the next expansion is called The War Within. And while that has the obvious meaning of the war within Azeroth, since it takes place entirely underground, just real quick, let's look at the main cast of this expansion. Anduin, Illyria, Thrall. Kind of an odd bunch, don't you think? I don't think this is the trio we ended up with by accident. I believe that each of these characters are notable for their unresolved inner turmoil, and War Within has a double meaning.
I would agree.
Not just refer to the literal war, but the complex emotional situations of our heroes. This video is part of a 3-part series. We're going to dig into each of our main characters and look at how they ended up here and where they just may end up going. First on the chopping block is everyone's favorite blonde prince that isn't Arthas, ANDUIN WRYNN. While Anduin's story goes all the way back to Classic, we're going to start our story today at Legion, when the position of High King was suddenly thrust upon
that hair
Anduin
was
after
not
his dad,
doing it for him.
WRYNN was
God.
killed on the Broken Shore. As an important point of context though, while Varian's last letter to Anduin assured him that his father was proud of him, for most of his life, Anduin was seen as a soft-hearted runt. And this inability to be the warrior type his dad wanted out of his son weighed heavily on Anduin. He believed himself to be a failure in the eyes of his dad, and this makes him a majority of his pre-Legion lore.
A lot of guilt. A lot of guilt, a lot of shame. Feeling like you failed. Mr. Pyro, sir, I'd like to know if we ever got an actual cinematic for the expansion or not. Yes? Is it the Anduin and Thrall one? That would be sad. Why would it be sad? That might be one of the most cinematically impressive cinematics I've ever seen in my life. Because it wasn't like explosions and action, it just wasn't cool. I know it's not for everybody, but as we're watching this video that's literally talking about inner turmoil, they're trying to drive home a theme. Also, like Metzen said, sometimes big things start with small moments. Yep, and he said that this was one of those such moments. That was... I can't word right now. This is one of those moments.
I say this because while the lion's share of people around Anduin believed he would be more than capable of leading the kingdom during the war, Anduin himself was full of doubt. Anduin wasn't the warrior king, taking down demons like there's no tomorrow. No, he was always the diplomat, the one who bridged divides. But how do you negotiate with the Legion? How do you build a bridge with a force that wants to destroy everything? And
in a way, Anduin reminds me a lot of Agramar, actually. Agramar is noted to have this type of behavior in Chronicle, where he's trying to be the voice of reason. He's the one trying to talk Sargeras down from the Crusade. He's the one who ordered Draenor and did it well with the Spore Mounds in Grond. He's the one that told the Titans that they shouldn't directly intervene with anything on the planet of Azeroth because they could cause irreparable damage to it. And then guess what happened? So, I feel like Agramar is often kind of like similar to this type of character. So might be something there, considering that Varian was very much a warrior, hot-headed, got mad about shit, very hard-headed kind of ruler, a good ruler, and a man of the people. I think Sargeras is kind of illustrated in a similar way, where like he's mad all the fucking time. He's hot-headed. He acts a little more impulsively. He's not as much of a diplomat, right? So maybe there's something there to think about. I like the fact that in the BFA cinematic it was obvious, flashy hero stuff, but in War Within it was inner strength, cool stuff. I agree. I think we'll get more during the X-Pack, but I'm holding out hope for another before it drops. You need something to grab people's attention again right before launch. Oh, they'll have a launch. I'm sure they'll have a launch cinematic too. This is a cinematic reveal trailer. You know what I mean? It's like them revealing the expansion. I'm sure that when it launches, we'll get another one. And I think it's probably going to be, it's probably going to be pretty badass. We'll see. It might even show, I mean, imagine if they gave us a fucking, dude, could you, it's not gonna happen, but could you imagine if they hit us with like an early Seat of the Pantheon cinematic? Give us like a little glimpse at what's going on there, not the whole picture, but just enough to be like, holy shit, you know? Enough to pique the interest, to make you think, what the fuck are they doing? And then bring Midnight in, right? Give you, you know, bring things in so that way you're giving a little bit, you're stringing them along a little bit. And then finally you give the big reveal at the end that shows the truth, the whole perspective, the whole fucking situation. And it will be then where we realize, I think, who the true enemy is. And perhaps by then it will be too late. Who knows?
Anduin was a fish out of water. He was an untested boy king who was in charge of defending the world against the greatest threat ever in lore. But there's actually a bit of a caveat there, because as many know, the factions actually played a smaller role in Legion than you would have expected. Due to a difference in perspective, the Alliance believed the Horde had betrayed them at the Broken Shore, leading to the death of WRYNN and a majority of the Vanguard. With the factions at each other's throats at this critical time of war, they wouldn't be able to mount a proper defense against the Legion. So, the heroes of Azeroth came together in large orders reflective of their discipline. The Ebon Blade, the Uncrowned, the Order of the Broken Temple.
And in this way, in my brain, I start to see a spectrum of light here. And all these different order halls represent a different color on that spectrum. But we all come together and we make a brilliant light that strikes back against darkness. And I know it's very fucking corny. I get it. It's a little bit corny, okay? But, I mean, we embraced our individuality and what made us unique in our class order hall, and then we came together and fucking beat the Legion. I mean, that's like the thing, you know? Like, even though we have our differences, the Death Knights and the Paladins, on the field of battle against the Legion, we still unite. And maybe that's the point of the Legion. Maybe their entire existence has been to make us grow stronger. I don't fucking know.
Legionfall. These and many others are the organizations that defended the world against the Legion, not the Alliance or the Horde.
Yep.
While I'm not trying to say that Anduin didn't do his fair share, it was the result of the constant distrust between the factions that his alliance and Sylvanas' Horde didn't mobilize the way they should have following the Broken Shore.
Yeah.
Heck, mere miles from the main port of the invasion, Gan Greymane would escalate the conflict as much as he could against Sylvanas.
Driven by vengeance.
To keep tabs on the Forsaken Fleet, but Gan went in there with the full intent to start a fight.
My vengeance!
And let's not forget Anti-Jaina, who freaked out and also basically disappeared until BFA, when there was a mere mention of re-allowing the Horde in the Kirin Tor. Anduin had spent a majority of his life building peace between the factions, calling some.
Just want to point out that Jaina rage hearthed. Just saying, she rage hearthed out a raid right here. The raid was trying to kill the boss. She said, nah, you guys are blind to the truth. I'm fucking out. She left raid hearthed out. That's what happened.
Until BFA, when there was a mere mention of re-allowing the Horde in the Kirin Tor.
Said, nah.
Anduin had spent a majority of his life
even want
building
the loot.
peace between the factions, calling some of the Horde leaders,
Roach
such
out.
as Bane, true friends. But when the world needed its largest superpowers most, it failed them due to time-old squabbling. We need to take a step back and imagine the frustration
When the Avatar was needed most, they vanished.
This would have on Anduin, as it's going to play a significant role in his character moving forward. Speaking
Bane
of moving
feels good,
forward,
man.
though, it looks like the Legion was defeated. Yay! But Sargeras stabbed the planet. Oh no. But there's this funky new mineral.
The Legion is not defeated. I'm going to say it, chat. The Legion's... I don't think I can believe it. I don't think I can believe it. I think it's folly to believe that we beat them. I'm real concerned about that. Because that's the type of shit, just what the Primus would want you to fucking think. That's just what a master tactician would want you to fucking think. What if you really did beat them, though? Am I just being a fucking idiot? It seems so... Ugh, man. Every other world fell. Every single one. To think that ours would be any different. But maybe that's the deception. That's the lie. Maybe it really is different, and they were trying to, you know, weaken us by saying that type of shit. But I don't know, man. Just when your enemy thinks you're defeated, that's when you strike. Just when they believe that you've really given up hope and that you're all just gonna surrender. That's when you strike.
Called Azurite, and it does cool stuff. What kind of stuff? Well, no one's actually entirely sure, but it has to be important.
I'm not
so
sure.
We're going to war
Natalie, I'm not sure.
That's not entirely accurate.
Interesting to think about those weapons.
There's a lot of bad blood between the Alliance and Horde already, especially due to the actions of Sylvanas. For example, in the Before the Storm novel, Anduin works with Sylvanas to establish a meeting between the Forsaken of the Horde and their still living relatives on the Alliance. However, when the meeting went a little too well, and some of the Forsaken were being
That's an interesting
to go home with their
concept,
families,
Natalie.
Sylvanas ordered an attack on the meeting, killing all of the Forsaken who had defected, ruining the meeting and leading to the death of Kalia Menethil. While we're at it, let's...
Yeah, by the way, it's fucking Sylvanas' fault that Kalia Menethil is a fucking undead light thing. Sylvanas is the one that killed Kalia. Because she was afraid of her.
Score the times people freak out on Anduin when he's trying to make the world a better place. This is gonna make 3. Thrall's balls. Sylvanas just essentially wiped out a majority of the Night Elves, and probably the biggest war crime in Warcraft history. And that's no small feat.
Yeah.
Like there was this one time Sylvanas killed a bunch of civilians. Oh wait, yeah, you know about that one. But it's okay.
Yeah, you remember that one time in real life when that one country dropped that nuke on that other one and indiscriminately murdered millions of people? Or hundreds of thousands, or however many it was? Just fucked up to even say. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I remember that. It's kind of similar.
Anduin's going to strike a counteroffensive and bring the fight to Sylvanas in Undercity. Speaking of the attack on Undercity, Anduin has been pushed to start killing people. War is war, after all. But this does note
war
a
is war, after all.
In his character.
War never
Our
changes.
Peace-loving golden child of the Alliance has taken another's life. There's blood on his hands. That's going to be another notch. But oh, look.
True, though there's the argument that it ended up saving more lives. I don't think I care for that argument, though. Yeah, again, it's do the ends justify the means type shit. You know, it's like, that's that question that you can't, neither side can really, hypotheticals, you know? We'll never be able to answer that question.
Look, Auntie Jaina is back. She's gonna mend ties with Koltiris and bring them into the Alliance so we can fight off that horde. Also, we now have Sourfang trying to overthrow Sylvanas. Looks like things are back in business for Anduin. This is his ballgame, politics and friendship. Before you know it, the war will be over and we'll be putting Sylvanas on trial. Oh, what's that? The Night Elves are frustrated with the Alliance and are gonna run off and do their own thing for revenge? I mean, that's justified, but that's gonna be another notch. It also turns out the Fourth War is extremely gruesome, with casualties mounting to insane numbers. Unbeknownst to everyone, Sylvanas was in league with basically Warcraft Satan and was trying to cause as much devastation as possible in order to empower him with all the souls being sent to hell. Kind of random and cartoonishly evil? Yeah, but let's not dwell on it. Moving on. We're just gonna put a notch on the board for how bad the war goes on both sides.
It doesn't go well.
Putting a toll on our soft-hearted hero. And I forgot to mention,
terrible war.
All gods are afoot. Yeah, specifically N'Zoth, the one that really messes with your mind. Easily another notch. Nothing direct, but that's gotta have an effect on him. At least Rathian is back. His good old friend from his time in Pandaria, who was also indirectly responsible for killing his dad. Another notch. Jeez, these are really starting to pile up. Thankfully, it's looking like our roving band of heroes have put a stop to N'Zoth, and Sourfang is gonna force Sylvanas out of the Horde. Things are going well.
Oh, we put a stop to N'Zoth! Oh yeah.
Oops, Sourfang is dead. That's pretty sad. It's also another notch.
We'll see, Tracy.
But hey, at least Anduin can rest easy now. N'Zoth is probably dead for good.
Like an end singer of sorts, yeah.
I mean, Sylvanas is missing, but I'm sure we'll track her down.
The end singer who would basically take the dark matter of the universe, in that which was aligned with emotional energies, and basically drown the hope and light of the universe permanently. That's kind of like what the end singer was gonna do. Yeah, the end singer, void song. It's the same concept. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. Essentially, yes. Yeah.
Any moment and bring her to justice.
Agreed, Jarl. Huh. It's loud.
That's a notch. Turns out after losing the war, Sylvanas was ready to meet up with Daddy Jailer and put their plans in motion. Thankfully, the player character is right on their heels and manages to rescue a lot of captured folks. Well, except Anduin. Before we dig into Shadowlands though, I want to take a quick moment to thank you all. My first 2 videos ever have done way better than I ever could have imagined, and it's a dream come true to get to make Warcraft videos and have people watch. As part of that, I've created a free Discord that I've linked in the description. I would love to chat with you all and share previews of upcoming videos. That's enough for me though. Let's get back to everyone's favorite expansion, Shadowlands. Anduin is still locked up, and the jailer has plans for him. After some honestly very entertaining bickering between Sylvanas and Anduin, Charlemagne, Anduin's sword, would be converted into Kingsmorn, a Morn blade that would place Anduin under his control. Now, you might be expecting to put another notch, but we're not going to. I'll explain later. Anduin is now on the other side of the fight, helping the jailer against his will. He'd go toe-to-toe with the
Locust Walker sus as fuck, though. He definitely knows something he isn't telling. Yeah, he's not telling you that he was the harbinger of... He was made into the harbinger of Koresh. If you ask me, that's what he's not telling you. He's not telling you that he's the guy that was tricked by Xal'atath into becoming the fucking portal for Dimensius to be summoned. That's what he's not telling you. But we're gonna probably find that out.
Heroes of Azeroth, including Bane, Jaina, Thrall, and others. But our impeccable track record comes in clutch again, and we break Anduin free of his control. Awesome! Now we can have our perfect king again. Well, not actually though.
We didn't. I mean, mostly Anduin and the memory and attachment to his father and to Saurfang are what broke him out. It wasn't really us. I mean, we helped, we fought him, but you know.
Something seems off. Anduin is guilty? It's not entirely clear why though, because he was just under mind control. Why can't he just get over it and go back to being a goody two-shoes instead of throwing his hood up and going MIA? That's where all these notches come in. These aren't the tally of reasons Anduin ended up being the way he did. It's all the reasons that a small part of him was complicit in being mind-controlled. And that haunts Anduin. Let's watch the Anduin epilogue in Shadowlands and take a deeper look into it.
It is perilous to confuse what you are made to do with what you choose to do.
It is perilous to confuse what you are made to do with what you choose to do. And I see it in this way as a reminder that it is important not to concede your choice and to just do what you are alleged to be made to do and act like you have no choice in the matter. When you really do. And I know for a time she didn't feel that way.
How can I not when it all blurs together? It was so horrific and exhilarating. And it sickens me to think that satisfaction may have been mine.
But yeah, I don't really think it was. I think that was the jailer and the Primus, and it's like it's just fucked Anduin up. Now, like Anduin's fighting with this self-doubt because he's like, fuck, was that really me? Doesn't mean it really was him. But it just means that like he felt that because that's what domination does. You lose yourself. You start to feel the things the other person's feeling. You're starting to have the memories that they have. It starts to literally blend you together. The Primus and the jailer, Zoval, are a perfect example of that. And so in this way, it becomes very difficult to separate like what is you and what isn't. And so Anduin is like, he's struggling with this because he doesn't, this shit is beyond this guy's like 20 years old. Like this shit's beyond this guy, you know? Like that's pretty wild.
That's a very specific choice of words there. Satisfaction. Not fury, not anger, satisfaction. The mounting frustrations with those around him finally broke through while he was under the jailer's control. A part of him enjoyed letting go and lashing out at those around him.
I could see that. Yeah, I think that's a good analysis of that as well. Is like he in those moments was kind of unburdened by that conscious desire to like do the right thing. And in this way, I like that in the way that he lashed out, he's basically unfettered in his ability to just be cruel. I like that a lot, actually, because it exposes Anduin to a very scary side of maybe the mind and of the truth, you know, like there is a darkness in everyone, and people can pretend like they don't have any, but they're fucking lying, and maybe that's their darkness. There ain't no such thing as a perfect person. And I think Anduin has tried very hard to be that. And I think he's, you know, kind of in this way maybe forced to realize that there is maybe some pretty repressed frustration that he has, that when in this state of unconscious, unfettered cruelty, he maybe did develop a little bit of a sense of satisfaction. And again, not in necessarily the suffering of other people, but in his ability to lash out and to act in cruelty, because that's not who Anduin really is. So yeah, I kind of like that's a major factor of it.
Too often forget that while Anduin is known being weak compared to his father, we don't take into proper consideration the strength required to be the peacemaker that he is. Taking the time to work through these deep divides on Azeroth takes a special kind of mental fortitude that only Anduin seems to have. But everyone just keeps...
It's not even just mental fortitude. I think it's in the spirit and the soul too. It's in the heart. It's in all of that.
Testing him. Rathian kinda killed his dad, Jaina abandoned him right when he became king, Genna is fighting Sylvanas when the Legion is at their doorstep.
The lemming effect is a truth for a reason. Might be the letting go part instead as well. Everyone has their limits. Well, it's true, and and that's maybe a scary side of yourself to have to confront. And again, maybe it's that war within. In a way, maybe the jailer, as Zoval, kind of even, whether by intention or not, set Anduin up for this type of conflict. You know, it's the forced confrontation of the war within. It's if you're too blind to see it, I will force your eyes open, kind of thing. You know, literally, I will fucking force it upon you. And I think that's also a terrifying thing for Anduin to experience. To experience something that has that power over you is fucking terrifying. And even further still, to feel as though perhaps that power is feeding upon your own dark inner feelings and thoughts and desires is really scary, dude. Really scary. But it forces you to be introspective. It forces you to question. It's like what he's struggling with, you know. Am I even safe to be around? And that's why Thrall's message is so powerful, because he can see that Anduin is trembling and terrified of what if I fucking lash out again? Like, what if this is really a part of like who I am? And obviously Thrall letting him know, I trust you, is helping Anduin to realize that he doesn't have to be separated from everybody. That people don't necessarily see him as a monster. And this Thrall's saying, we've given you some time, Anduin, but it's not enough. And it's time that you come home, and we got to work on some shit, and we got some shit to talk about, because these visions are pretty crazy. Do you think by the end of the saga, Anduin will use Shadow? I think that everything is to a degree about balance. So maybe even Anduin himself will wield Shadow, and maybe him tapping into that darker part of himself is, in a way, a conduit that will allow him to do so. There is Void Reaver Anduin, I think, from like Hearthstone back in the day. And so, I think him having a balance and finding that unity would be very fitting for Anduin. I would like to think that maybe it's also like Destiny. For those who know Destiny 2, for a long time we only had like the light. And we were taught like, oh, the Traveler and the light is like the good, right? And then the darkness came, and we discovered that in the darkness there was also powers that we could use to help us, and that if learned to be properly controlled, that they too can be used to bring light, even though they're darkness. And so, yeah, I would kind of like to see in this way that that happens. And I kind of hope that happens with Silvermoon. I kind of hope that happens with the Draenei. Well, we'll have to see. But yeah. What's up, Ali Eden? What's up? I mean, Thrall's gone through heck and beyond. This is kind of Anduin's moment to grow up with a few scars. Yeah, I mean, Thrall's trying to be, there as a supportive figure, but also not be in Anduin's face. He realizes that Anduin is his own person with his own struggles, And yeah, Thrall's been through some shit, but he doesn't have the answer to everything. You know? I think that would be ridiculous to think. He's still got some learning to do as well. We all do. Maybe up till the day we die.
Elves abandon him in the Fourth War. Sylvanas does everything in her power to try and break him. It all just starts to wear him down. Anduin has built himself onto a pedestal. He is the Golden Lion, the High King, the Great Uniter. And for the briefest moments while under the jailer's control, he fell from that pedestal.
And I can only imagine, because I myself know what it's like, when you put yourself on a fucking pedestal and expect too much of yourself, sometimes you gain a little bit of a sense of pride when you're successful in doing it. And when you have to ultimately get to that situation where you have a little bit of a downfall, it sucks. It fucking sucks. And so maybe in this way, the proud lion, the cub of the proud lion, son of the wolf, maybe there's a little bit of pride going on there. And that's a big recurring theme in World of Warcraft. Big. Like, what he's saying about Anduin right now reminds me of about how Emperor Shaohao kind of saw himself. Of like, oh, in the ways that I have learned, the lessons of Pandaria, I now know that I am more than Emperor. You know, like, but still within him brimming with pride. Pride is a good thing until it's not. And then it's worse than all of the other Shah combined. So if you're able to overcome your pride and have humility and be humble and accept when you're wrong and accept when you make mistakes and not be so fucking hard on yourself, you can be a lot happier. You can be a lot more free. And that's what Anduin's going to struggle with.
Finally let it all go, lashing out at his loved ones that made everything so hard for him. Now we can see why Anduin is so disturbed following the events of Shadowlands. There was a part of him, however small, that went along with the jailer, and that terrifies him. Anduin knows he's not the person he thought he was. He can feel that inkling at the back of his mind, that part of him that is just as ruthless and hungry for war as those before him. That's the war within Anduin. He believes the perception of those around him is a total lie. They're all willing to brush away his actions while under the jailer, chalk it up to mind control, but Anduin knows that's not the entire truth. That's why he ran away. He needs time to figure out who he truly is.
Yep.
So what can we expect to see from Anduin in
Very
the war?
well said. Very well said. Anduin's cringe, no one cares.
Within. Well,
Imagine
there's
being such a
paths
fucking
I can
sissy that you
easily
think
see
that.
him going down. An interesting one is that I think the Arathi of Hollowfall could show Anduin a new version of the light, with which he can reform back to his holy ways, with a greater appreciation of the light and his place within it. But in the Shadows Rising book, we also see Anduin tap partly into the void, and I think we could see Anduin's inner turmoil become fuel for an access to a new side of his power, the Shadow. With Illyria at his side, perhaps Anduin digs deeper into this side of him. It also feels worth mentioning the potential future showcased in the Anduin comic that released before Legion.
I really like that take of him not liking that people brush it all off because it still did something to him. I don't necessarily think it's like that, about like, oh, they don't see what it did to me. I think it's Anduin's guilt that people around him are willing to trust him and put their faith in him after what he believes is really terrible has happened. It's more about, and maybe that's what you meant, but that's how I see it. It's not about, oh, poor me, like they don't see that it affected me. No, it's like it's they're willing to look past it, and Anduin can't accept that. He doesn't believe them. He doesn't believe them because he doesn't believe in himself. That's what I mean. Because, okay, as he said, he was worried about that satisfaction was his own, right? He's concerned because he knows, he feels like, no, there is something that I should be feeling guilty. I should be feeling shameful. And which made him question himself. Yep. I agree. Yeah.
With the grizzled old Anduin leading the army of the light in the final battle of the void. While that's a far way out, it could inform these crucial next steps for the character. Anduin is at a...
And again, that comics, that scene starts with Velen saying, "High King WRYNN, it is time." And he's standing right behind Anduin with white eyes, just the same fucking way that Eonar did it with Aman'Thul. Like, Anduin's Aman'Thul and Velen's Eonar. It is time. Type shit. Reminds me a lot of that.
Anduin is at a crossroads, with the ramping up evils of the cosmos forcing him to choose a path quickly. With these years of storytelling and build-up, I believe Anduin has everything he needs to tell one of the best stories in Warcraft history, and I can't wait to see it play out. Anyways, this has been Six. Make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell. I'll see you guys next time.
Good video. Good video by Sixsten. It's 2 months ago. Holy shit, he posted that a long time ago and I only just watched it. This one's old. Sorry for the scuffed quality. Oh, it's good, dude. All good. Thanks for letting us watch it. And I hope the chat enjoyed it. I think you make great videos.